Hi, and welcome to Sixcess Stories. We are your hosts, Christina Gent.
And Eric Ozarowski.
And this is where we share real conversations with the 6 Degrees community about life, leadership, and the power of meaningful connections. On today's episode, we have Ryan Norr, the owner and creative director at SDAV, San Diego Audio Video.
In this conversation with Ryan, we talk about SDAV being a family business and the lanes he and his wife have carved out for each other, working together within that business, his approach to leading a team, putting out fires, adapting on the fly, with some really fun hot mic stories and why having a backup is so crucial to his business and learning that the hard way. We talk about the importance of setting boundaries with clients and how being available 24/7 is exceptional service until it's not. And we close with a conversation around personal versus digital interactions and meeting belly to belly and the caution and care that he brings to his team with the way that they're going about incorporating AI into their procedures, processes, and technology.
Yeah, there were so many really good nuggets and topics of conversation in this episode. So it was really fun. I mentioned right off the bat in the check-in just the sense of calm that I had. So it just felt really nice. Like it was a really wonderful conversation. And Ryan is awesome. So I hope that all of you really, really enjoy this episode of Sixcess Stories.
This year's been good, and January's over, and I'm like,
I know
how we're 1/12 of this year is done. Like
I just
books
noticed that too. Not just literally the calendar, but we did a project in December, and I was looking at the files of it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's almost 2 months ago, and I was like, that's just too fast. And I told people I work with, I was like, that's scaring me. It's scaring me of how fast.
Interesting, because this might be the first time in a while that I don't share that. I actually feel that January took its time in a positive way.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it hasn't just flashed before my eyes, which typically tends to be the case.
Yeah.
And could be because usually our events are so, they kind of almost snowball. And by the time we finish one, I'm already behind on the next one. So I think that actually has to do with having Sammy on board. I think I think because I'm getting help in the space that I really have needed it for so long, I've had time to breathe and do other things. And so I haven't felt like, holy crap, where did this month go?
Yeah.
And that feels amazing.
That's a good feeling. I'm not there yet, but I'm glad that you do.
Yeah.
Glad part of the business does.
Yeah, it's definitely I feel the shift so much internally. So
yeah, my wife stuff changed for us since I last saw you guys. She opened a new salon, so we did, but it's mainly her. But it's a crazy opportunity came not on our radar, and we just jumped. But she is like physically and literally tired right now. But she's going through those growing pains and then the time. And when she does get home and is exhausted, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're swimming in it. My mind is in different busyness, but hers is literally, it's up to here right now. Yeah. So it's funny with the dynamics that can be different sometimes.
Business partners and significant others. And Before we go too far down, I just it's easy to jump into stuff, and I actually have a bunch of questions about things you've already said.
Oh, yeah.
But typically how we start these is with a check-in, just like we do in the groups. So just to press pause and kind of make sure that each of us is being able to kind of fully sink into the space. Obviously, this is your world. You do this, and you mentioned like being on the other end's a little bit challenging.
Weird. It's super weird.
Or just different, right?
Yeah.
So as a check-in, what's the feeling? So with it being new on this side, what's the feeling that you have coming into this conversation?
Well, thank you. Again, I've naturally, sometimes new things, there's the literal emotion feeling is a little bit anxious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I can't help, but I feel like it's normal. You gotta, and then I'm like, okay, well, lean into it. And then when you get through into the power and through and the other side, it feels so good and everything.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of also like excitement of been hustling a lot and working. We've been really busy and trying to do not the stereotypical New Year stuff, like planning everything and trying to do things for the business, maybe just kicking off the new year with some great energy.
Yeah.
So I have a combination of mixed energy and feelings, but mainly I would say excited.
Yeah.
Excited. It's like a good anxiousness and a good excitement of wanting to be busy and keeping busy with things going on. Unfortunately, like I was saying the other day, one of our employees was sick, so then it's like, I'm extra busy. And then she came back today, but she got the other one sick. And so I'm like,
oh no.
So there's a little bit of that running around feeling, but I also like know that that's like a good thing. It's like just, it's a good thing to be just kind of, it keeps me, I move well that way.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Doesn't mean it's enjoyable at times, but so yeah, the needle's kind of moving a little bit, but I feel like it's a good, excited energy. Yeah.
I feel that. Christine, how about you? What's the feeling coming into this conversation?
Yeah, right now, so you started to almost say that what's the energy level, and I have a high energy level, and at the same time, I have such a sense of calmness right now. Everything feels very calm, feels centered. I don't know if maybe it's just even, and I know that the energy that you just shared that you're feeling right now is excited and maybe a little bit more elevated, but for some reason I sat down and like calmness just swept over my entire body right now. It's a level of calm that I don't know that I typically sit in, so I'm curious where that's coming from and why right now, but it feels nice, so I'm gonna let that be.
So the feeling that I had, we just got done with a workshop, right? And coming out of that, I felt extremely drained from just the emotional, and I didn't even lead it, so I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then as soon as I saw you, I was like, oh, Ryan's here, and it just went right back up and out. And so I just went in like probably the last 10 minutes. Like I went from, oh, okay, I'm ready to check out for the day. I just had lunch. It's kind of like it's that time of day.
Oh yeah.
And then you walked in, and I was like, oh no, there's a bump of juice. Nice. So thanks for coming.
Yeah. No, this is awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So you talked about your wife just in the brief minutes, and you guys, she's helped out with the business. You guys have worked together at some capacity, right? Tell us. I'd love to hear a little bit. I'd love to start there as a place of how does that work? What have you guys done together? What's the dynamic look like for the two of you?
Absolutely. So she does all of our accounting and bookkeeping for our production media company, and then it's nice. It's family. It's someone you can trust to do your books and finances. She doesn't necessarily know the production side of things, but that's what she doesn't need to. So it's awesome. And we took, on the business together that way. Yeah, so she is able to, she works in the office, but also works from home, as when things shifted a handful of years ago we have 2 kids, so them having to go through school remotely in the beginning of COVID, we pivoted to having a home office for her.
Sure.
And then she's like, just kept doing that. So she comes in only once in a while, doesn't need to. We can do all the accounting remotely.
Sure. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. So
flexibility is nice.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. She has her own business as well. So it's like, how do you split your time, But bookkeeping, the finance side of our business, it can be like part-time. It doesn't have to be 40 hours. Yeah, so
the books aren't crazy.
It's not.
In terms of the client load and the type,
volume
the type of work and the different products or different
exactly.
services that you offer.
Oh yeah, and we lean on a great CPA and tax specialist when we need them. Yeah. She really communicates well with them and myself, so we have a nice little system. Now she jokes all the time like she wants to get herself fired from this job because she's like, oh my gosh, because we have our kids and we manage the household together, but she's able to be home more, especially while they're young. So school times, pick up, drop, all of that.
How old are they?
Now they're 11 and 13.
Okay.
So they're getting more mature. Their schedules, they're in the same school for a little bit longer, middle school. So that helps, things like that. And so, we have a running joke of when I'm like, oh, we need to take care of this. She's like, oh my gosh. Yeah, jokes about being ready to move on from her bookkeeping roles. Yes, and just work on her business. But it's all in fun. So we have a interesting dynamic, I would say. As you know, working with your partner, spouse, significant other. I saw my parents do it for forever. And I always thought, how did they do it? And so I didn't expect it to happen, but it made sense. And I was like, I don't want another business partner, like an outside for our business, I wasn't looking for one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this was like, oh no, this makes sense.
Yeah,
though.
the support.
Yeah, the support is great.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the SDAV was a family business before you took over.
Yeah.
So how did that happen? How did you two get into it? I'd love to hear the story of how did it start?
Yeah.
Take us back.
Okay. So my dad was in production and media. Went to San Diego State, broadcast, media, production, all that, and worked for a production company in the 80s, and then decided to go off on his own and invest in equipment, and literally started in our garage in Spring Valley. So I was just a little kid and helping in the garage, just putzing around, and it was a lot audio and video, but a lot heavy on audio, radio programs, music, analog, if you can imagine, literally the big reel-to-reel decks that are like 5-6 feet tall, all the analog type of editing and recording and engineering.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. Business grew out of the house eventually to some warehouse space, and then eventually from there into our Kearney Mesa location. And then I continued growing into the business and we naturally, the video element of things kind of coexist with audio and support each other so well. They're like synonymous with each other that we added more video. And I was really into video as well. So I was doing different types of film school classes, certifications, in addition to my business, or going to school for more traditional classes and a business degree. I was like, I still love video and audio and all this. How can you mix the creative side of our brains? There's kind of a nice juxtaposition and blend of these. And so I kept working the family business, and then kept wanting to push more stuff that I liked, or stuff that I saw things were going with as my folks got a little bit older. And so, it's a family business, and it was rough, just like any little family business, and the highs and lows, but amazing at the same time.
Yeah.
Like blood, sweat, and tears, all that you hear about from, pouring into your own family business.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it was for me as a kid, to then really realizing that I want to take it over. And I saw my parents getting older and being workaholics. I was like, you guys need to retire. Aaron and I want to take over if you're ready. And we want to buy the business. I don't expect anything to be handed to anybody. So we, several years ago, took it over. And
How long ago?
2017.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2017, and they were totally ready to be retired, but just some of us could continue working as long as you can, just to stay, and they loved that. But it was nice for them. My sister has kids and grandkids. I have kids, so they're ready to just kind of cruise now. So it was awesome.
It sounds like this is something that even from a kid you were really immersed in. So was there ever a moment that you were considering a different path, a different career, or was it just like, no turning back, it's what I've always known and I'm excited to take it on?
No, definitely. I thought I was going to go do different things for a while. So I went to school for business and marketing. I love that. And with that comes a lot of the other types of undergraduate stuff, accounting, economics, finance, stuff like that. But on the marketing side, I really loved things. And growing up in a business, I knew one day I wanted to run a business. But I wasn't sure. I went in the finance direction a little bit and some more marketing. And then I realized, oh my gosh, all these things I'm learning with working at these other places, or the additional school, additional degree, what have you, steps along the way, I kept feeling the tug of I could be applying what I'm learning now back to my family business.
Sure.
And and as I was still working for the family business, even just on weekends or on nights, I'm still part of the family business, but having these other newer career opportunities, I was like, oh yeah, things are changing. The generations of things change, evolving, especially in that industry. Technology. It's crazy. So with my folks having success in their time, I was like, whoa, I could see us, and they trusted me and believed in me of like, let's kind of go down this lane. Or I would present ideas and options, and they were like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it. So it's really neat. And with that came a lot of ups and downs of adventure, of leaning into video more, growing more of the other types of technology we do. Things changing, like back in the day with cassettes and CDs and DVDs, and everything keeps changing. So I definitely went in my young 20s, pursued different career paths for a little bit, and was so stoked to like bring it back in.
It sounds like you always had this. You were always part of the family business, right? Even if you had them, it sounds like other jobs.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, definitely. I knew the media and knew the business so well that I was always still able to put some time in, and want to be a part of it, and still close with my family, extremely close with my family. So it was easy for me to.
Which is great because it doesn't always work out that way.
No, no. Definitely.
Yeah. That's so true. I mean, so my dad, he ended up going into business with one of his brothers, and it was pretty bad. They had a pretty bad falling out, and led to my dad kind of being the outcast of the rest of the family. And it's interesting because a lot of people who have gravitated towards 6 degrees work with family in one capacity or another. And for the most part, the people who are part of it all sounds like things are going well. We haven't really heard of someone having any kind of fallout with that. And so that's really cool. We're attracting people who are really trying to figure out how to make it more of a family business.
Yeah, I think it definitely put a different strain on my relationship with my parents, especially I would say my mom.
Okay.
But
what were the roles when they were? Because you said they worked together, correct?
Yeah, they worked together. So my mom was a little more behind the scenes, but it's every day there. She does, ironically, not ironically, I guess, but the bookkeeping and the finance stuff of the business, and was a lot of the brains of it. And my dad knew the production side, and then it was more natural for him to be sales oriented. My mom was from Hong Kong. She's Chinese, and so she knew that she was better behind the scenes for some of the interactions and communication with business and growing, and she knew it was easier for her to stay a little more behind the scenes. Everybody knew her, just didn't know that they were necessarily married or like what the dynamic was.
The relationship
yes,
was.
exactly.
It sounds like she knew her strengths as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is where I'm going to put myself to be effective.
Extremely smart with business decisions, bookkeeping, and finance things, and having that intuitive notion of it's hard, like choosing impactful decisions that's not only looking out for you and your business and your others, but employees, investments, and stuff that affect everything. So they always had a really good dynamic of how they came to decisions and how they came to growth and risk. Risk is a big thing, and that I experience and see them leaning into things. So yeah, it was unique. It was definitely unique. I don't always recommend it, the family business, but the ones that can do it, I really think it's neat. I don't know that my kids will be interested. I'm not going to push it on them, but I do think it's neat to cut your teeth in it and get some experience and then see where it goes. But yeah, I think it's cool that you observe and pick up on a lot of the 6 Degrees family. Has some...
There's a lot of family dynamics at play, for sure.
Yep.
We've noticed that.
Yeah.
You said sister, is that the only sibling, the two of you?
Yep.
Was she ever interested in the business?
That's a good question. She was a little bit like kind of the high school, college, part-time, we all have to get a little bit of work in when we're not in school or part-time through school. So yeah, but she went into education. She became a teacher and then administrator and things like that. So she was not. And probably better for for our dynamic, for her and my family in general. She does not have any regrets of that. She wasn't as into it as I was. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. How far apart are you, the two of you?
4 years.
4 years.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, she's able to keep a close relationship, non-work related. So it was different for us. I had this with my family, 50, 60 hours sometimes at work, being close with them in a different dynamic. She was able to have a different relationship. Yeah. So it was great. It's been great.
That's cool.
I can imagine. I mean, if I was out of it, and then just because the nature from our experience we continue to talk about work pretty much constantly, even when we're not.
Last night, I'm literally I got home. It was a long day. I just want to sit on the couch and just not think for an hour. I had some other stuff I did, and the whole time Christina's like, "So what about this and this?" And then and then I'm like, "I'm gonna make dinner," and I was like, I wanted a break, but I didn't get one yet because she was still. We got home and she was still going, and I was trying to just I need a minute, and then after again an hour of it, I was just like, oh, I'm not getting a break. I need to express Chris like what she wasn't feeling of what I like where I was at with it. I'm trying to block you out right now.
Well, and at the same time, it took about an hour until you said that something, right? And so just naming it, if that's what I want, if I need a break, I don't work well at home. It's hard for me to get in that mindset. So because I was still active, I was basically saying, I have a time clock, and like once I hit this time, I'm not going to be able to do this anymore for tonight. Yeah. And he was in the opposite space of, I need a break, and then I'm going to get back into it later tonight. And so, yeah, we were just on different.
My break was a bunch of questions about business.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know.
I'm sure anyone that works with their family or significant other can relate to that.
Yeah. It's hard to give yourself an intentional break.
Yeah.
Because your mind is just going. Yeah. I read something where I'm sure people all go through this about waking up in the middle of the night sometimes. And if you own your own business, you don't even have to own your own business, but just you have responsibilities, stuff at work, stuff in life, and wake up, and it's hard to separate. How do you get through that? And I read something where it's, don't pick up your phone. Don't start reading. You got to calmly tell yourself.
Yeah, it's actually sitting through it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's replacing one distraction for another.
Yeah.
Right? There's no healthy, the healthy thing to do is probably breathe.
Yeah. Actually, that's what the article was just reminding you, like, here's the steps you can get through that. And I just thought it was interesting because, there's a lot of times I'm like, just pop up like, oh, crap. And then I run through the 17 things that are on my list for later that day. But then other times it's, no, I'm so exhausted. I'm able to crash. But giving yourself that little intentional break is hard, especially when you're to get like.
The fix would have been, we got home, I'm like, I'm going to take a break and just say the thing that's in my head out loud. And then Christina none of that would have happened.
Yeah.
Right. She didn't know that I'm trying to I need to just unplug for a second here.
Yeah.
But the way that we work together is probably the thing that we aren't aware of as much as aware as we are, is like one of us will be in something and it's like there's excitement and energy, and so it just kind of doesn't matter what the other person's in. Jump in and be like, hey, like, what about this? And it's like, I'm kind of super focused on this thing. I know I do it to you, and we do it to me. Yeah. So just being like, hey, like, are you in the middle of something? And like doing that beforehand is helpful, but it's still.
Do you guys is your offices in the same room or separate offices, or to get where you can be like, do you need a little bit of space to lock in on your stuff, or that little bit of personal space when you're working?
It's a good question, because I think understanding how we both work has been especially coming out of the pandemic and the whole remote workspace, and we don't have an office at home. We have a desk, and then we have the kitchen table. Like there's separate spaces there, but like Christina mentioned, she doesn't really work as effectively at home, and then she's better at a bar or coffee shop. I'm less effective because I'm around people, and not that I eavesdrop, but like just things catch my attention, and it's harder for me to focus. So I think we're still trying to figure out, but like ideally we're close enough where we can just be like, hey, and bounce something off each other. That's important, I think, just where we're at. And even with bringing on a team, like that's how we like, hey, please be around like once a week so we can have that. Because I think that's what's missing with remote training, is it's like you're on your own, but like osmosis of hearing someone pick up the phone and the word track that they use or the language that they use to describe something, is you don't necessarily get that unless you're around the other people, right?
Yeah, I've noticed that even in this state where we're training somebody, and I've had a couple conversations where I've thought, ooh, it would have been really great to have Sammy even just eavesdropping on that conversation, just being a fly on the wall, even if it wasn't participating, just because of the questions that were asked from the other person and how I got to talk about something or whatever the thing might be. So there is something really powerful about being in the space together and being able to brainstorm in certain moments, right? It's, quote, the water cooler talk and the pop-in and that kind of dynamic. And then, there's certain things that for some reason in specific spaces, I can just get into a flow state and knock something out. Cool. And all of that has been just learning over the last 4 years, because we don't have an office, like an actual, this is my office, this is my setup, and I'm going to continue
and I think I need one.
I think so. I think you
I think I need a room like this where I can close a door and there's no one around me, and I
Mhm.
can put my phone somewhere where I'm not going to look at it and just focus.
Yeah.
I think that's what I need.
Yeah.
Which might just be the next goal for us is, I mean, we
Yeah.
definitely have a partnership with Downtown Works, and there's probably even other people that would be like, honestly, I'm not using this room if whenever, but I think just like having like a specific office, I can make it my own space. I can even decorate it to be supportive to the way that I want my mind to flow. And kind of owning that would be, yeah, I mean, I've never experienced that.
The crazy thing is, I'm just thinking about, I'm curious how that is for you with your team, the question that you asked, but before we go there, I'm just realizing I've never actually had like my own office. I've had a desk before, and I've had shared desk. This is open, but everything else since the day I've ever had like a quote unquote real job, I haven't really had like this is a place where I can go. Everything's set up is going to be here the way I left it, and close the door. I've actually never had that.
Wow.
And I think I more and more I'm like, ooh, I wonder where I'd be if I had that. Maybe I skipped a step.
Yeah. We had planned on doing some remodeling. We did a bunch of remodeling, and there was a office that I was going to use as my new office, and had all these great plans and sketches and things, and you start earmarking things and putting things online and of what you want to buy and everything. And I haven't actually finished or even moved into it because I'm stuck in the room that I'm in. But it's still an office. But yeah, I keep both doors open, and people are coming and going, and people coming and going. It would be nice occasionally. I agree with what you're saying. Everybody kind of has their own way of working, learning, listening, reading, all that. Yeah, I'd love to turn music on, close the door sometimes, and just get in the flow state that way.
Yeah.
But I can't work from home either, like you mentioned. I know people love it. Some people do. I don't think I could.
And Christina has said like, oh yeah, you can work at home. I only can because Christina leaves, and then it turns into a quiet space with doors.
Yeah. Right.
That's the reason I can do it.
Yeah. It's just you and the dog, and that's it.
And like, I don't get distracted by, like, I know a lot of people, it's like, oh, there's so many things that my laundry, the dishes, and like that isn't pulling me.
Yeah.
It's quiet.
Yeah.
I think that's what I like about it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't get pulled by laundry or anything else because I'm like, that's just another chore.
Yeah.
To me, it's more of there's a mindset shift that happens the moment I get home. I'm like, oh, I'm at home. This is for relaxing. This is for TV. This is for dinner. This is for work. This is where I sleep. There's an association with what that means. And so it's just like, this isn't where I work.
I think it's interesting, and I'm curious what this is for you, but so from a training standpoint, from an onboarding standpoint, how big is your team? It's small, but
we have about five.
I was going to say 4 or 5. Like, a part of what I'm realizing with both Sammy and Valentina is like, well, how do you like to work? Because we're bringing you into our world, and as we're talking through this, I'm like, so Valentina is an intern. Does she know? And then the other part is like the communication part. There's so many different ways to communicate. And I think it's just kind of assumed that we know the technology, but it doesn't mean I know how to be effective. Like, did you ever learn how to use email? How to efficiently and effectively, what happens is we figure out how to do it in a way that makes sense. But for someone that's, so Sammy's coming from hospitality, Valentina's in her first more professional experience outside of school. And so we have two people that aren't super familiar with just email, right? I've experienced it can get overwhelming. So I'm curious if that part of it seems like it's almost common sense that we just brush under the rug, but it's probably the most important part of being productive, moving the needle on certain things. So is that part of the training for you, or what's the learning curve that you've experienced? Because your team's been with you for a minute. I would imagine.
A couple of them have been a few years now. One of them, several. Yeah, so it's been great because we've learned to communicate really well. But it is a big deal, like you said. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, they're asking me what to email the client. And I was like, it's not just automatic for them to, and that's not their fault. It's not my fault. I just happen to have been doing this now for a while.
It's second nature.
Yeah, second nature. I've been doing it. I've gotten older through it, experience-wise. And so they're asking me like, oh, what do you want me to say? I'm like, oh my goodness, yeah. I don't want to feel like a micromanager, but yeah, here's what I would say. And so it is funny you mentioned the email thing, because as they grew into their roles, I was excited to have them get to communicate more with the clients, because that's great. First of all, they're working one-on-one with their project too, so they could talk directly. They can sit in with them directly or email, whatever. So yeah, that it is a big deal. I think it's overlooked sometimes with the younger generation, maybe people coming out not realizing like there's still things that are traditional, maybe etiquette wise, maybe professionalism, maybe how to communicate, maybe how to connect, and so
how to be direct.
How to be direct.
So Christina and I, we've talked about, so in the event, similar for you, like Christina comes from hospitality, and so there was examples, and you experienced this, so please jump in. But basically, like 40 email exchanges to coordinate a restaurant date, dinner type thing, and I'm
Instead
like, how
picking up the phone?
Yeah.
like, how is that 40 exchanges at most? That should be like 6.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, picking up the phone, that's a real fear. It's funny, the thing that comes to mind immediately for me, it was a learning experience that I made. It was before we bought 6 Degrees. It was when I was actually working for 6 Degrees. And I'm almost positive this was to Frederick, who's a member now. I don't know if you've met him, because he goes to his growth group consistently, hasn't been to a ton of events lately. And I'm pretty sure that's who I addressed. And I said, like, hi, Fred, blah, 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 blah. And the owners at the time, like, they saw that communication and they let me know, like, hey, he doesn't like to be called Fred. Like, he likes to be called his full name. And I don't even know, like, why I even made the assumption. Like, maybe, like, what I'm sitting with now is maybe I was trying to make it friendlier or more just, less formal or something to that effect. And at the same time, like, what was I thinking? Like, to just shorten someone's name who I've never even actually had a full meeting with or anything. And yeah, I mean, there's things like that just we learn it over time. But I can't even imagine someone, I've never even heard of someone being like, yeah, we're gonna do training on email. It's like, what? Like, what do you mean?
Well, the crazy thing is how much time is on email.
Right.
There's it is the go-to thing that and we had this conversation, or I was, so again, new team members of just like, if you don't get a response in a couple days, it's not email again, it's call.
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid to pick up the phone is a very big lesson that I've even put a mirror up. It's like, I'm guilty of that too, right? But think about how much time is spent, and people consider their jobs email. Yeah. And we don't train it. It's kind of wild.
That is why I've literally never thought about that until this conversation.
Yeah,
like,
no,
this
you're
is
right.
crazy.
Yep. The phone thing is tough. I will tell people, just call them. And exact scenario you said, email them, but then who knows how fast they're checking it too.
Maybe they get out 200 a day and it's lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, it gets lost.
And so I'll say, just call them, because I don't want them to think we didn't get back to them if it's hot in terms of time wise,
right?
And then they can see that we're also reaching out and we're trying to,
there's effort.
So the phone is still important. Funny enough, we get a lot of people that want to text, and I'm like, and I don't always give out my personal cell phone, and our landline, our office landline, it's a traditional business office number, so they're like, I texted you and you didn't respond. I'm like, well, you texted our business line, I'm sorry. So it's interesting times of that. I'm just saying, it's so funny that I'm like, oh, you could just call me, if I didn't respond, because that's or send me an email. I'm pretty quick, but if I'm in a shoot or in something, then just call. So it's so funny, the different ways to communicate, and what's appropriate, what's not, or what's too eager, what's patient, and
everyone's different. Everyone has a preference, right? And one of the things I've done, and I don't know if I shared this on here, I might have, but just setting the expectation of like, so here's for me, if you send me an email, don't expect a response right away. If it's an important email, an urgent email, it shouldn't be an email. If you need a response within 24 hours, 24 to 48, that's what it's going to be. But if you need something in an hour, email is not the way to do that, right? And it's okay if it's in a couple hours, it's text. But if you need it right now, it's like, pick up the phone, call me. That is the bat signal that something is wrong. Luckily, in this business, I don't live it. But when I worked in the insurance world, that's how I operated with my team, because I realized that they live and breathe insurance. And so for them, everything's like, we need to get this done now. And sometimes there are fires. And there was a time, literally. literally fires. And so there was a time where it was a super urgent thing, but it was an email. My role in that business was to not be in front of my desk all day. And so I literally didn't get back to the computer till the next day. And they were like, why didn't you respond? I got like 3 emails. I'm like, these are unreasonable expectations for me to get back to you as an email. If you called me, this would have been done.
Yeah.
All right. So just like setting that up for, here's my order of operations. If you need me, helps a lot.
And we've talked about this in the growth groups before, where boundaries or setting those expectations. And I literally met a potential client the other day and someone on his team that said, we're 24/7. So you can text me anytime, call me anytime, whatever. I was like, whoa, that's totally different than what we've been kind of talking about, like how to have a little bit. And I was like, awesome, that's great. And it is for him, but it's sure enough that everybody's different. But he was like, yeah, you can text me anytime, call me. We're all around the clock. I'm like, okay, cool. So good to know.
You said the putting out fires piece, and it made me really think about like, ooh, does that really exist in our business? So I'm curious, do you experience...
Oh, you for sure do with deadline. You have deadlines.
Well, there's deadlines for sure. And if I'm managing the deadlines in a way that is productive, then maybe I'm not feeling like the putting out fires piece of it. So yeah, I'm curious, what's an example of a time that it's like, ooh, no, this was a fire, and then I had to go put it out?
Yeah, that's interesting. In our media, umbrella, I'll call it, the deadlines are big, but everybody traditionally has some type of deadline. But if it is something that needs to be live, quote unquote live, and there's changes, sometimes it feels like putting out fires. The other day we do some streaming too, so live streaming, and the space we were at, the power and the internet went out. And that was not on us. It was the venue. It's a big hotel in town, but it was like, oh my gosh, people look at us because we have cameras and it looks like but how can we help? So it feels like, okay, let's help with some solution with the guests that are in person, and then the people that are streaming, we're going to have to figure out something else, hotspot, whatever, internet.
Yeah, problem solving.
Yeah, problem solving. Yeah. So there's definitely, I would say, luckily, we build a lot of backup stuff for footage and recording files and video files. In our world, we rely on what we are recording and creating and technology. So sometimes if the technology goes out, that is, that can make you sweat.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, if you have all your fail-safe and fail-proof ways, you're ready. Yeah. But dealing with clients and deadlines and revisions and up and down the flagpole of who needs to review things, I feel like there's often hoops to run through that feel like could be putting out fires, or just challenges. People will throw something at you that's, oh, we didn't talk about that. You want to do that? Okay, well, our podcast is supposed to start in a few minutes, and I didn't know you were bringing on X amount of guests, and some of them were going to be Zooming in. That's a whole nother part of it. It's a different, but it's like, you know what? If it's so, they probably don't seem like some of the fires that maybe someone has with, the scale of, this is affecting their family, or this is affecting whatever, maybe a little more drastically in the moment, but it still moves the needle and we still sweat. And, but, I always feel like if you can handle it, then you can find a way to problem solve. How can
Do you have an example that you're open to sharing of something deleted it, and there is no backup? Like, 'cause I'm sure the backup pieces, you had to learn that.
Yes, absolutely, definitely. I've said, not knocking on wood, that because the people that I worked with that kind of trained or mentored, definitely taught you to have 2-3 places of backup. Nowadays with the cloud, that's kind of nice because there's automatic cloud services that are taking that digital image of what's on your computer in addition to the physical stuff. So yeah, there was definitely times where you thought something was recording and you tested it.
Yeah.
And you did a sound check, and this isn't major, but we did a live event at UCSD, the Scripps.
Yeah.
And, we're the video team, so we're not necessarily providing the quote-unquote AV system and stuff like that. So some of the audio levels of stuff was not how we, we expected, or the live performers change something, and the team there is awesome, but the team there even warned me like, oh, I'm so sorry, this is gonna, so you like freak out for a little bit, and you're like, oh my goodness. Well, luckily we do have backup mics that were in place for a reason, but yeah, that stuff makes sense. It was pretty recent because someone was singing, and it was beautiful, and it was amazing, and it was, we did a rehearsal, and it was great, and then, afterwards they tell me what happened with the system and what happened with the audio guys there and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, bummer. How am I gonna tell the client? I'm already thinking ahead, like, what am I gonna, but it's like, you just be honest and say, this is what happened. But luckily we had 2 or 3 other microphones, and we can mix stuff and save
I would imagine there's ways to save that, but like not hitting record.
Oh yeah.
Or like the file gets deleted, or something happens with the card, or that is like, it's gone. That's a different thing than like what we got wasn't what we hoped for.
I know. No, you're right. There's definitely been in some of our earlier days of realizing, okay, that cheap SD card, don't buy those again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason. There is ways you learn, and you spend a lot of money trying to recover it. There's companies that are like, it's there. You just have to send it in and recover. And it's like, oh my gosh, you're going to charge several $100s. Though. It's like it's a ripoff. Yeah. But yeah, I've had those scares. I've had some of those along the ways. You just hope that you have multiple angles covered and multiple backups, like cameras and recordings. But yeah, I definitely remember some of the guys that I work with, and some of a time or two that like totally freaks you out of like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, and then there's the opposite where there's like a hot mic and something gets said.
Yeah. That's 2026.
Yeah. Those are...
gotta be careful.
You gotta be really careful. There's been a lot of things that have been captured that was like, oh, they do not know that everyone can hear.
Yeah. That's so funny. Like one time, so when I was younger, we did it all, including weddings, a ton of weddings. And I loved weddings and thought it was great. When a lot of people kind of were maybe standoffish to them in our, in our production side of things, people are like, oh no, I don't want to deal with weddings. I don't want to deal with brides. I don't want to deal with this. No, I haven't in a long time. We will do, if someone was referred to us, like another.
If they really,
it's great. But over time I was like, my weekends with my family became, leaning into the other production side of things we do has been amazing. But so a couple times, you mic the groom and you mic the priest, pastor, officiant, your family member, whoever's, and they were like, oh my gosh, we didn't get it back from them in time because they left off, cheers, took off, give it to you later, and like, oh, you're gonna want to delete that, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like,
you're not gonna want to listen to
like literally. And it wasn't just, oh yeah, I went to the bathroom. It was a groom one time saying, oh, I'm so sorry, I had that in my pocket still. I'm like, I don't even want to know what you're talking about, why I don't want to hear this, but implying like, you're not going to want to have that audio, that please. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, so yeah, that cracked me up, some of the funny things like that. But
well, there was like a murderer, right? And it was like the end of them filming a documentary with this, I don't remember who the murderer is. It was one that you were like, oh yeah, it was really, really good. It basically, the cliffhanger of this documentary was he goes into the bathroom, he's still mic'd and doesn't realize it, and basically as he's in there solo, like admits to the murders, and he's just like, can't believe that they haven't figured it out yet, blah blah blah, right? I mean, you're the one that told me about that documentary.
I'm trying to think of what, it's HBO. I can picture the guy.
But like, how crazy for something
he's mic'd
so
up and
huge.
Like it's vague enough where he's kind of like talking third person, and it's very
the
creepy.
Implications there. Yeah,
it's creepy.
And it was criminating enough. Put him.
I think it was used. It ended up.
Yeah, it was like used in trial.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
We did a little live presentation for, it was like a doctor. Their research stuff that they're presenting in slides, and we were streaming it. And so we will take over their Zoom, kind of hosting it, managing it, and then someone will help do the Q&A and the chat and stuff. And when we're done, people don't all leave the meeting right away and hit that button,
Yep.
So he was done with his presentation, and he's a doctor, doesn't necessarily always think that he's mic'd up or that he's with a camera on, with lighting. He came into our studio instead of it, so it was a little more nicely done because they want to be able to record it and reshare it later.
Yeah.
And so he immediately was done and just kind of assumed like, all right, it's done. So he was like, whoo. And he was like relaxing and but like laughing and looking to us, started chit chatting. And I was like, whoa, we are still. And there was like a lot of other doctors and colleagues. And
Still
he didn't like say anything inappropriate, but it
Yeah.
still like cracked me up where he was like, he had like an OS moment and like started laughing about it. And then we were like, okay, now we can cut
Like,
this.
now you're good.
Yeah, so
It's still hot.
yeah, it's still on. We're still on, and that was like it was harmless, but it was funny.
What's interesting about that is like, yeah, like even if it's not anything bad or anything like negative, it's still like, oh, you were putting on a performance that now is you're letting go of.
Yeah,
Right, and that can still feel like something like, what was that? Like,
Yeah.
why are you pretending? Right.
that's true.
I think because it happens, right? And there's nerves and there's things like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I built it up and I'm now it's over, right? It could be, but like I think people can interpret that in different ways,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You mentioned the 24/7 thing, and I just want to touch on it a little bit. I'm curious. I think there's just in the boundaries conversation that we've had in the group. I think so many people think that the way that I can provide value is through service, and they build that into, well, this is what I'm known for. I need to be available 24/7, and it's helpful until it's not, right? And I'm curious, just for in both of your experience, Christina, with 6 Degrees, how has that evolved over time? Because I know for you, it's still something that you're working on, right? But for you and your team, and how has that evolved? That piece.
Yeah. I would say when I was a little bit younger, I remember getting to know clients, and they're always wanting, and if they have a question or a change or a revision or like an idea, they want to tell you right away. So they want to text you or they want to email you, and they want to, nights, weekends and stuff like that in terms of the time kind of and boundary. And so I was extremely eager and was like, yeah, I guess that's the way it is, especially if they want to meet for coffee, if they want to meet for whatever. And then kind of learning from others like yourselves and from getting older and more mature about, well, no, when I come home, I want to put my phone in the drawer. I want to hug my kids. I want to eat dinner. I want to spend time with my wife. And I don't want to, if they send a message, I could, if it's important and I have to a couple hours later, no problem. But I think I've had to learn that over time on my own. And then because I did that with our team, I try to be extremely respectful of it with them. They don't have to check their email at night if they don't want to. A few of them don't sync it up to their phone, and I'm like, that's fine. Don't worry about it. If I need to get a hold of you, I can call you or text you. If a client emails you, like, you're off the clock. If you have a little different role, but if you don't mind, and you feel the need, then be my guest, but there's no pressure. So I try to be respectful if, that. But it took a while to learn and then hear it when we talk about it with everybody's business and everybody. Some of it makes sense more in their industry. I get it.
Even in any industry, right? Like I don't know that I'm using it as an excuse to validate the value that I provide.
Yeah.
Right. And we have so many people, and again, it's not a bad thing. It's great, and I'm gonna burn out from it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not sustainable in the long run.
I think that's true because I could see with your relationships you have outside of work and with who you're connecting with and want to be present with and stuff. I want to be able to, like I said, check out a little bit.
Yeah.
And does my business rely on that 24/7? Not necessarily mine. We're not a traditional 8 to 5 anyways. We are in the office 8 to 5, but if someone wants to schedule something at night or the weekends, we can.
Right.
So sometimes it's necessary, but it's not, nothing's going to fall apart. Right. And so for me, that's what I think about, and what's more important this time, and then having that balance. The balance is the thing that I always still daily struggle with. So it's one element of that's like, okay, I can control that. So if that's going to help my balance, then my relationship and with my wife and my kids, then that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I forgot who it was. You said balance, and it sparked this. And Christina, I want to hear just your thoughts. But instead of balance, I forget, it was like Bezos or someone who, whatever. But it was like, instead of balance, I try to use harmony. Did we talk about that?
No, I remember, and I wrote that down when you told me that.
Because balance comes with the thinking of literally a seesaw, like to balance it, one side has to go up, the other side has to go down. But harmony means there's a dance of being in equilibrium more, right? Yep. Which again, not good or bad, right or wrong. Just I thought we talked about that.
We did. No, you're right, and that's so true. That's so true. That's a great,
because it's easy to be out of balance in one way and then in balance the other way, right?
Yep. And no, totally agree.
I think when it comes to the boundaries of time, so there are certain industries or certain professionals who deal with emergencies.
For sure. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
there's that element of it, of the boundary of time. And so there are, so even just going back to the insurance world, and if someone got in a car accident at 10 p.m. and they're calling you, they want to be able to have that relationship where they have somebody that they trust. A boundary that, as you were both speaking, it kind of dawned on me, and I think I can do an even better job at setting this boundary, is when I meet someone for the very first time, I really need to meet them in person. It's so different. The interaction, the attention shows up drastically different. During the workshop that we had this morning, this came up, and it also came to my mind of, they were speaking more of in person when someone might be checking their watch or looking at their phone and really showing me that they're not present with me right now. And where I find that happening is on a Zoom call or even on a phone call, and I'm hearing noise, I'm hearing distraction, I'm hearing all these banging around, all these different things that could be happening on their end. And so now I'm also distracted, and it just doesn't serve anybody. And so in that moment, to just say, hey, sounds like there's something going on your end, totally fine. I'm so happy to reschedule this when I can have your full attention and full presence. And so what I've been doing lately when I'm suggesting to meet with somebody, I'm always going to suggest the in-person element to it until they might say, I can't do that, I'm too busy, blah, 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 whatever. And I think I can do an even better job of saying, like, great, when you have the time to meet for coffee and meet in person, I'm more than happy to come to you and make it as convenient as possible. And I'm going to wait until that's available. I think not only is that going to serve just what I'm trying to get out of the interaction anyway, that's also going to show up for them to go, oh, wow, okay, she knows what the fuck she wants. And she's not going to say yes to something just because it's convenient.
Well, I'm sure we've all have experiences like, well, I don't want to waste anyone's time. Yeah. If you're just going to give me a 15-minute Zoom we were supposed to meet. Right. Yeah. It's like, that's not worth either of our time.
It's not. I can't get
even
anywhere.
Even a half-hour Zoom call, I'm like, okay.
I really can't get anywhere
to meet someone. I really we're gonna scratch the surface. Mm-hmm. It needs to be an hour. It needs to be in person.
And you're gonna see some of getting into those distractions and part of it. Yep.
Yeah. So that to me is a boundary that it wasn't something that I like labeled it as a boundary, and it is, right? It's my own personal way of how I want to connect with someone if we're meeting for the very first time.
Yeah, in San Diego, right? Like obviously people are in different cities, and there's like
I'm not going to go fly out to somebody.
The other thing I would say that I'm curious for you is, so most of the clients you have, I'm sure, have been with you for a while, and there's a difference between first time and like we've done 5-6 things, like
Absolutely.
Let's jump on the thing together.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
I think
different.
that's an important distinction.
Yeah.
Right.
But even we had somebody recently who she went and did a sales pitch in person and flew out to San Francisco, right? Wow. The easiest thing to do is just jump on a Zoom call and attempt to do that on Zoom. And she said, no, this is worth it to me. Cool. Even if she doesn't get the deal, the experience of that, right? It just shows up differently in today's world where Zoom is easy, it's convenient, and there's just too many distractions.
Yeah, I remember a little while ago when for a while people weren't offering to, it took a while to do more meeting and going to visit and not just assume they want to just Zoom only or phone call. So I was like, man, yeah, and I'm talking about not like years ago, like recently still a lot of people assume to go to quick, like, let me just set up a Zoom. I'm like, oh, our offices are like 15 minutes away. Like, so it's awesome when I meet, especially through 6 Degrees, and someone wants to physically, they're like, oh no, let's meet. I'm like, oh, thank you. Thanks. That's so refreshing. Yeah. Whether it's at your office, my office, coffee, whatever.
Or something completely. Like we have people that go on walks, or they have this is my favorite X, Y, and Z spot, right? Like,
no, I think it's
go do
great.
yoga or whatever. Like there's There's so many ways to connect with someone. And again, like, so we only get one shot at making a first impression.
Yeah.
And Zoom, it's really hard to do that on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Even if you're really good at it and really conscious, really aware, able to capture someone's attention.
Yeah.
And even just the memory of it. I can remember the people I meet in person so much easier, so much better. I remember so much more about them. I remember so much more about the conversation, the interaction. I'm placing it in a physical location, and that is different than I'm in my home and I'm on Zoom, and now my only association is this little box on my screen.
Yep.
And
then do 8 of those back to back to back.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
like during COVID and
that was wild. Yeah.
I think the quote that time has energy, space has memory. I forgot who said that, but I really liked it. I was like, because the time of day and there's energy to certain. Oh, am I just coming? Am I going? Like where? But then the space that I'm meeting in, there's a flag that gets put down where like we have a moment, and if everyone's just on the screen, it's a lot harder to create.
Yeah, we helped produce some videos for a realtor, and he was a successful local realtor, and he would say he got it back in my head, which was awesome. He's like, belly to belly, I have to meet belly to belly still. That was whoever taught him that saying, or maybe he came up with it. But he would always say, no, I gotta meet with, instead of just doing your 100 of Instagram videos or your TikTok or your Yelp or whatever, which it's huge for realtors, but he's like, no, I have to, people that I'm working with, we have to meet still want to meet in person.
And that skill to me is going to be even more important.
Yeah.
We talked about AI and just the lack of trust and how easy it is. Like, we're so close to Donald Trump isn't even, not to make anything political, but he's unwell, and we just have fake videos of him, and we can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
We are there. We're not far from that. And I don't think that's happened yet. I think I would pick up on it. But the leader of, pick a country, but one of the most powerful people in the world, we could be deep faking that right now.
Oh, yeah.
And we would not know.
Yep.
Like, the technology is there. Yeah. So I'm curious for you, like, how does, and we've talked about this a little bit, the AI conversation, and you've been hesitant to really lean into it, but also see the value of, and I'm curious, more of, where do you see it going in your space the next couple of years as someone that has slowly kind of incorporated it?
Yep. Well, so I definitely think it's here, it's not going anywhere. The reason that sometimes that I'm hesitant or tread lightly is because the whole point of creatively we're able to do this that a machine is now doing. Is that taking away someone's job? Is it, I'm now using AI for voiceovers when I used to pay this person that works down the street that I've worked for with years, or a copywriter to create the captions for this or to help storyboard this project. Now we're artificially doing it. So I had to kind of get over the moral dilemma of that. And that was the beginning of, but I was like, you know what? It's business. It's business.
As a business owner, it's so easy for me to go, well, that's faster, more effective, more efficient, and more cost effective.
Yes.
Right? Like, if it's apples to apples, there's no reason other than, well, I feel bad I can't pay Christina.
Yeah. So I believe I'm able to separate myself. I don't want to be insensitive to any of that, but I'm able to see that line and be like, you know what, I have to feed my family if this is faster, quicker, all that. But it was still like, okay, well, also that is less authentic. The things that are obvious that we can see or hear doesn't look as real, authentic, or believable or whatever. So some of those things but the efficiency tools, the automatic tools, oh my gosh, they're amazing. We all use them in our businesses, not in everybody's business, I'm sure.
What are you using from a video editing, content creation standpoint? What's the thing that you're using that's probably the biggest game changer? Okay,
so that's interesting part of that question, because we have a client that we shoot a lot of video for and record a lot of interviews and podcasts and YouTube stuff for their businesses, and they want it so quick.
The turnaround,
and then they want, let's say it's like a episode, like a podcast. They want the full episode, no problem, but we have cameras, so we're switching the camera angles. Also, if someone coughs, sneezes, whatever, we can remove it quick. But they want shorts taken out for quick reels, quick stories, to teasers, trailers, things like that, and YouTube shorts, which are obviously really impactful and popular too. Also LinkedIn. So they're like, we need 10 shorts. can you use some software? Can you find some software to find it? I'm like, I don't know that the software is going to pick as good as the shorts from our conversation. You said things that maybe we here listening can pick up on. So it's not, so some of those things I don't believe are tried and true. Oh yeah, cool. 100% out of 100 times it's going to be nail it. So that's why I'm able to say, you know what, if you give us an hour or two of our time, our editor or myself, whoever was listening in, can mark things and can do it. I still think we're not ready to do some of it, but then there's some things that are like the mindless things or less. Yeah, there's a bunch of things out there. There's not one in particular that I absolutely love, but there's a bunch. You know, we're using a lot of software for voiceovers.
Yeah.
They don't need to come into our studio. There's a ton of them that are able to take my voice right now. You all see the quick videos on Instagram of people doing it where then all of a sudden the face changes and they're wearing a different outfit, but it's still my voice and I wrote it. And it's not really trying to be a deep fake, but it's just, wow, it's a presentation. So yeah, when something happens in the recording or they realize they said something incorrectly, we can go back and make those changes. It's kind of neat. We definitely had to do it where they went off script or someone on their company's like, oh, they weren't supposed to talk about this, or any numerous examples. Yeah, they can sample their voice and recreate, and you can program what to say.
Yeah, especially if there's video tied to, I would imagine.
The video tied portion makes it a little bit harder, but you can cover it with B-roll. You can put a slide up, and change camera angles, change to the guest, see their reaction.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So there's ways to. It used to just be like, well, this is like if I only have one single frame camera,
yeah, then
it's like,
you're screwed.
It's like this is what it is. But I'm sure there's ways to edit clip, and then like I don't even have to tell me what you wanted to say, and we just move. We just replace it.
And I wouldn't say, I don't want to give anybody the wrong impression that you're doing it to like mislead folks. It's more like cleaning stuff up, enhancing. I don't even want to say fixing, but the client asked us or something in their side of the recording. We had a live stream where the guests on their side of things, someone clearly was sick and was coughing and sneezing. So there's software the automated software for our world can pick that up a lot better than it could years ago. Those may seem minor, but they're helpful to our industry and making your finished product smooth, clean, polished. But yeah, there's a lot of automated things. The transcript stuff, the note-taking, getting to the best part of the notes. Asking AI to send me the highlights, send me the brief for this, and then we can jump to those. Let's say we're doing an interview, like a video, documentary style video. In the old days, you'd record the half hour, an hour, and then someone has to go through it. Right. Separately and look at it. And you'd print a transcript and then you would go with a highlighter or you rewatch it, going through it, whichever way is how your brain works. Now you can jump to those. We do it on our phones, but yeah, so that helps us a lot.
Yeah, I mean, even when we first started this podcast and I was taking the transcript, because we do a deep dive after each episode, and so part of that was, okay, what are some of the topics that we might have touched on a little bit, we want to talk a little bit more into, and I would take the transcript and I would throw it into AI and I would ask just what are some of the most interesting things that we talked about, and it didn't really give me what I was looking for as far as what Eric and I would dive deeper on, because there's things about the conscious communication tool set that we have as a background in our leadership skills and things that just the AI doesn't know that even about us and who we are. And so now at this point, I just end up listening to every episode. I listen to it in double speed so I can get through it. I'm hearing for like, oh, this is something Eric and Christina would talk about. AI doesn't do that. It's just going to pull something that it thinks is interesting. Right. So there is a human element to it that is important for the creative side of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously AI technology. It's going to continue to get better. It's going to continue to learn. It's going to continue to evolve. And at least right now, it's not to the point where I can just let it do all the work.
I wouldn't either. It makes it challenging because there's individuals, businesses, companies that are like, probably, how can we lean into this? How can we do this? Instead of maybe calling another photographer or videographer or whatever, they're just, let's figure out something using AI and software. Yeah. So you're losing a little bit of that, but maybe to them it's fine, and production value, their expectations are what they want to invest in for their business. But it's getting better and better.
It's getting better and better. So part of it's basically the same analogy of editing the podcast for clips and then clips for videos is what you said, Ryan. And so part of it for me would be, we've done 36 of these, but it's how do I, here's what you gave me, here's what I ended up using, save this, and now when I upload the next one, make it more like this. We would have been doing that for all 36. Does it actually learn and get better to like, each time is it a little bit more closer and closer?
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that's the part where it's easy to just go, it's not there yet, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Versus the other side of what you just said around like, well, maybe it's an 8 out of 10 and an 8 out of 10 is fine. We hit the button, it chops up, it gets most of the 10 clips right. 8 of them are great. 2 of them probably could be better. And the client goes, we have content.
Exactly. We just need to shove it out.
We have content.
Honestly, that's probably, I would say majority of people are probably that.
Right.
You know, like we need the content, we need it quick, we'll get it out there. Who knows how long their audience is listening into the video, into the audio, myself included in this moment, like who knows? So when, some aren't thinking about that authenticity, and some appreciate it, some might just want to see that bottom line and just want to get it across the other finish line and get it out there. It's just funny because when you ask about it, it makes me reflect on like, there was another moment where AI didn't pick up for us and our client. Again, another several episode or an interview that we did.
Yeah.
And I was in the room because of cameras and audio and video and everything and lighting. And the guest, it got emotional in a good way. It's like, that's for some people's shows, that's gold, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I saw it. So I was telling the client that wasn't able to sit in, the other people on the team, I'm like, oh, everything went great. So-and-so even was crying. And she wasn't a visible cry out loud where the AI would pick up on that. But I was like, no, what she was talking about, those moments, those long pauses, she was tearing up, crying.
We don't want to cut that pause.
We don't want to cut that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I know it seems like minor, but in their world, when they're looking for a short to post out, that's going to be a big teaser moment, trailer, a good to like show this. It was a high profile individual in their world. They interviewed her. It was great. And so those things like, but I mean that if everyone sits and thinks about it, they probably realize, oh yeah, that makes sense. But depends on how much you're wanting to lean into it or not.
Yeah,
AI
well, there's this cost benefit of so having taste and knowing what's good, and I'm being even in this, and we don't do this because we'll do the deep dive later. But when you're in the room, I would imagine, that especially video and photo, like what you're using, 80% of it just by being there live. This in the transcript, it says it, but I saw her get emotional. Like this, we're using that, right? There's a big difference in that, and I don't know that AI is great at picking up the tone. I think it's starting to, right? But the facial expression, the facial recognition software, all this stuff, it's gonna be able to do all of it. And then it becomes taste of, we have an hour and a half of footage. How do I tell this story?
Yeah.
And that if you're good at that, AI is not going to replace that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's because AI doesn't have taste.
Yeah. I like to think of everyone with their business, who they want to attract, and their clients and their kind of sphere of influence and all that. It's the same for us. I'd like to think the clients that we're shooting for or producing for appreciate that. They're not going to just jump to the next AI thing, because then now that's successful for someone else's business model. Oh yeah, we made 50 videos for them this week because we're able to do this. So we try to find a good balance in between that. I'd like to say this is our bread and butter like this. Oh, but you are asking for this too. I can adapt to that. I can lean into that and adapt to that because I want to be able to and not get passed on, and I think it can be helpful. Now, is it my favorite thing to do? No, because I'd rather be doing this and getting to know. And
belly to belly.
Belly to belly.
I like belly to belly.
Yeah.
So in a recent deep dive, we talked about cutting through the noise, right? So what we're seeing, what we're being fed on social media, and what ends up happening with AI is it all starts to look the same, and I'm getting fed the same images, the same feel, the same, because it's what it knows. I mean, the dead giveaway I think people have figured it out, or at least have told AI not to use it, but the M dash in any kind of transcript, any kind of copy, it was a dead giveaway of, oh, this is AI and this person used AI. There's nothing wrong with using it. It's just now my antenna is up and I know, okay, this is AI. I can still read it for the message, and I know that it was produced by not this person. And so I think in this creative space with audio and visual, and it's okay, so these videos are starting to look the same. I'm starting to see a lot of the same type of content. So now how do I use my creativity to break through that and grab somebody's attention, because it is real and because there is a human element behind it, and because I'm capturing the moment of tears and emotion and someone literally being a human on camera, and how real that feels. And that's what people are going to be, they're going to gravitate towards that.
Yeah.
Versus like the AI.
I think there's two kind of things that are going to happen. Either one, everything becomes the same and it's AI slop everywhere and everyone just goes, none of this is worth it anymore. And I think the other thing that could happen is, because so many things start looking the same, and for someone like you, is we know that this has worked, this works, this is proven, but it's, let's try this creative, different approach that we want to see if it works. And then there's room for that in a different way. And that's where there's still going to be value with working with someone. Like, so much of the game right now is the algorithm. I need to be putting out content. It doesn't matter if it's bad content, just put it out. And I'll put out 100 and hopefully one of them hits. And it's cold call. It's playing the numbers game with social media. That's what's happening.
Yeah, I noticed that's the big topic right now. The algorithm, and then doing it but not being certain. So they're asking us, because we will create content for your social for you, right, and they're just like, okay, so how does this work? I'm like, well, it's not like everybody's in the same playing field right now, like really, because you can study it this way, and then next week it actually, or you get 1 million hits here but you only got 300 here. And so it's kind of leveled the playing field for some, and it's just extremely interesting right now.
It's a crapshoot. In the way it's changed, it's about attention. So it doesn't matter if you have 10 followers or you have 10 million. If you put out something that gets me on to stay on the app longer, the app is going to push that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's why some of these stupid videos and some people you've never heard of, and it's like, why is this on my feed? It's because other people that I like, that I follow, like this.
Yeah. So I like looking at, and I'm sure we all do it. It's not, but when I see a video and I'm like, okay, got my attention, and I look how many likes it had or not, so some of the analytics of it or the statistics. And then I want to look naturally, like, is this someone that does this professionally, regularly, whatever? Right. And I love it and crack up when it's, oh no, they have 117 followers.
More, but that's happening more.
Exactly.
It is, it's happening
so
more.
I love seeing that, because
it
just, again, it's validating, like,
which is cool.
It's crazy. It's just,
it's cool for the person, but it's a lottery and it's a crapshoot. Like,
so
that's the problem. It's like, why that one?
Yeah, it's tough. And then you hear the people that are trying to push you to post a lot, and I'm like, now that's kind of overkill, or is that the right thing for your brand, for your image? Is that really helping to put mindless stuff out there, or posting a lot or just putting, I don't know. So
I as someone that's in marketing, that I used to have a digital marketing agency, and part of me wish I would have just kept with it and built it out in that space. Early days Facebook, early days Twitter, before Instagram existed. It's changed so much, and so much of it is just mass content that I don't know what the strategy would be. I think it's important to have a presence on our LinkedIn page. Ideally, it's if someone shows up on our page, we want you to see that there's activity, that this is a company that exists. They are active in some way, shape, or form. We post the episode of the podcast once a week, and we try to post something else relative that is aligned with our values, that is aligned with the 6 Degrees brand, so you can see, at least a weekly basis, there's 2 posts. And I think there's more value in, like, the personal side of LinkedIn. We're mostly on LinkedIn, but that's the strategy. And the strategy is, like, we just want to have presence. If you stumble across it, you check it, there's activity.
It's I would say for most of our clients, similarly, unless they're trying to go viral or they need clicks and attention of stuff, which is not really our majority of our clients, but it's your brand. So it's creating your brand. If there's different elements, different lanes and lines pointing to your brand, does it look like you have check off all the boxes? And some that need to post more, great. And others that don't, but want a polished look and want to keep staying out there and relevant. But it's just such an interesting time of trying to nail it. And that's
the hard part, is so there's people are investing money, and these things cost to produce something, to edit it, like there's a cost to that, and then you're telling me, like, but it might not work.
I know.
Like, it might be this one might be the dud.
I would laugh to myself when people are like, okay, how can you help us make this go viral? I'm like, that's not my shtick.
Yeah, I'm going to give you great content.
Yeah, we want to make something that's real to you, authentic, that delivers your message, that differentiates you, whatever, the normal things that you want to capture potential other business for them. But like, there's no magic button.
But even just like, you've said it a couple times, like the person who's like, I want to go viral. And God, it's like, why? Exactly why?
And then what?
What's the why behind it? Is it for ego? And right, let's dive into the root of why that's even the goal, because then what? And especially so many, like what you've both mentioned already, is it's now this kind of crapshoot random, a video happens to go viral, but that's the only one from that person.
This whole conversation, part of the reason that I did leave was just like, do I want to even play the game? Because it is a game to be on social media, and to play the game well, it takes a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of energy. If I'm outsourcing everything, that's a lot of money potentially, right? But do I need to play the game? Yeah. Do I need to be on there? What's the simplest way we show that we have a presence? That's what this is for.
Yep.
To do it well and to do it right is a completely different thing.
Yep.
And it's right. So
yeah. No, absolutely. I think that it's important to have the strategy and to have a plan in place and to help with steps along the way and what works. I think from our side of things, the nice thing, if a potential client wants to talk about that after we produce a video for them, whether it's for YouTube or just a general video for them or whatever, from experience, we can show them like, well, here's what we've noticed this working right. In terms of like, this is good to do, this is good to have, this is how I would suggest your team could utilize this. Right. We're not saying it's going to work, going to guarantee this or that. That's not what our side of the business actually does. In fact, too, we can create it. We're not helping guarantee anything, because everybody knows you still have to do the hustle with it. Right. That's the hardest part. So that's what I try to remind them. Like, we have a new podcast that a guy wants to do, and it's actually really neat topic and conversation. He's a extremely successful lawyer. He wants to talk about some of the crazy stuff he's seen, because that's what everyone tells him. Everyone asks him when
we had a lawyer that just was full of stories like
that.
It was one of the most interesting.
It's so interesting.
Most entertaining. Anytime I talked to him, he had a story.
That's the same guy, and he's like, I want to have a podcast. Everyone keeps telling me, so I'm like, okay, awesome, because actually really is there, and then locally, and there's a spot for it too, I think, or not just locally, but I'm like, you still have to.
Well, so I mean, that's we talk about this, and so like, what does the success of that podcast look like? Because most of them don't make it past 10 episodes. It's something like 70 or 80% don't make it past 10 episodes. Yeah. Right. Like we're in the top something percent. I don't know exactly what it is, but just by being at 36 or 37 or wherever we're at.
Yeah.
And that's part of that for us is, like, it takes time. It's consistency. It's being different enough and interesting enough and engaging enough for people to attract it. But then now you have to go promote it. You have to go put it out there. And there's all of that is different than pressing the button and doing the thing.
Yeah. We see a lot of people flame out right away. And you can kind of tell it's not their fault. They just probably expect stuff to happen. But our clients that are successful out of it are consistent. And they realize it's not about likes, like you said. Is it about the likes? Is it about your ego? It's about no, this is our message. This is on brand with what we do. We're a company that works in mental health. We want to share stories. It's important for other people to hear it. And this is a platform that others can be listening, and maybe we just share it around our own internal networks, and that's still impactful for us. Or maybe we're in banking, and these are topics that we get a lot of questions about, and so it's kind of nice to talk a little more casually. And then if someone just happens to come across it and listens for a little bit, it just helps their brand be a little more robust. Yeah. And that could be what's successful, and not 700.
Well, yeah, so just the marketing
likes.
The marketing part of it is it's a Seth Godin thing, but who's it for and what's it for? Yeah. Why do you want to do this? Is it to go viral? Like, we can make some great stuff, but you might be spending a lot of money where maybe AI is better.
Yeah.
It might actually be better. Or if that's what you need, like, we can go do it. We'll throw it in AI and maybe it produces it better. Right?
Yeah. Yep. It's an interesting world out there that we're all kind of navigating through. It's really neat. And there's a lot of different things to keep you on your toes and keep trying or experimenting with or learning from others or kind of jumping into. Yeah.
I have one question before we wrap up. What's the piece of content that you've created that you're the most proud of for you and your team?
That's a great question. So we have, in the last few years, without thinking back too far, we got to do these student profile videos. It happened to be for UCSD. And when I say student, I mean all age. They have a graduate program or a certificate program that anyone could apply to and everything. Right. But you can get a trade or a certificate type of degree, and you can do it in person or remotely. But it was really neat getting to interview the student for this 30 minutes, an hour, go through questions and stuff, and learn how it changed their life. Because imagine being 45 years old, 50 years old, or 25 years old, and then being like, I want to go into HVAC. I want to go into GPS mapping or GIS map, or I want to go into this
because
field,
they
this
had
field.
that program.
Because
it turned the lights on.
I want to go into nursing, lactation consultant nursing. I want to go into safety and and then it changing your career, but not the traditional 4-year way. No, it's not just like online education. It's real professors, real everything. And like I said, in person out. But it was really neat because getting to hear their stories and why they did it first, and then being like, oh my gosh, there's someone else at home right now that's probably considering getting another degree. But that piece was really neat because we also got to follow them around in their workplace and not just use stock B-roll. And then UCSD, that one came to mind because they have obviously a bigger platform. It was a big campaign for them. Afterwards told us that they won some awards for it. So I was like, oh, cool. Like, how cool is that? Like, selfishly for us, I was like, hey, thanks for telling us.
Award-winning video.
Yeah, like they won some awards for their campaign in general. So I was like, oh, man, that was neat. We got to do a lot of work out of it. I mean, with it. And just getting to meet all the different, a project manager in construction. Like, you don't necessarily go to high school and college being like, I want to be a project manager. Right. But there's some amazing jobs out there and careers that now might not be the traditional 4-year school method. And having younger kids, I think about that stuff and how like the new generation, new kids and what's available. Like, I love academics in school, but if you learn a trade or a skill instead, I'm all got your back right there, and like you can have a great successful career. So that was really kind of close to home since you asked. That has fulfillment, not just like, oh, it was a successful campaign that we did, but there was some fulfillment in it there. So it was really neat.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that is really cool.
I appreciate you sharing.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah. We are at time, right? I think if I'm tracking it right. As a reinforcement, what's an excitement that we're taking away since we started with feelings? Like, what about this conversation has you excited or inspired?
I get excited thinking about just seeing you guys again, because it's been a little bit of staying active, I guess, staying active. Don't get stuck in your office or stuck at home and staying active. So that's kind of refreshing. This was an awesome conversation. It was a lot of fun and getting to learn and listen and hear and get things off your chest of like just sharing funny stories and stuff. So it's a great reminder of like to stay active with my team, with our potential clients, with other members of the 6 Degrees. It's making me feel like I'm looking forward to being more active. That's what I just keep thinking of.
Yeah. It's always exciting for me when there's new learning, right? And there was a bunch of new learning, just, obviously about you and the aha moments that come up. And so today's aha moment, just about the boundaries conversation and just the realization that there's different ways that boundaries can show up. And so, just understanding a little bit more about me and holding those boundaries and what I'm looking for when I connect with others.
Yeah. For me, I think I love that your approach has been in conversations that we've had in the past, but it got reinforced of just, so there's this technology, I'm interested, and I'm thinking about the jobs that it's taking before we jump in and just start using it. So I love the human moral process of filtering that, and I think that's going to be more and more needed. Of cool AI exists, not shunning it away, but being open to it and understanding the ramifications if we do this or this, and bringing everyone along as much as we possibly can. And it's going to take all of our jobs. Like, it's every single one. I don't know when. It might not be for a very long time. I am excitedly terrified
Yeah.
about what it can do and where we're at with it.
Yeah. It's just wild. It's
Enjoy
wild.
being human. I guess that's
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Enjoy being
I
human.
love that I
Yeah.
love the
Yeah.
the humanness that you have in your approach, and I think I'm just every day enjoy it
Yeah.
while it lasts.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
It's gonna
Enjoy
get
it.
crazy and scary.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't.
But no, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank
no,
you.
thank you
This
guys.
was really fun.
I appreciate it.
Deep dive on Ryan Norr's episode. We talk a little bit at the end of this episode about the videos that go viral and how now it's almost more of a lottery. There's a lot of different videos that go viral for so many different reasons, and it doesn't really matter about how many followers we have. On the episode, we talked about how there's people who are coming to Ryan to go viral, and I'm just like, for what?
Oh yeah, I mean that's so. And then what?
Yeah.
So for some people, and so depending on how it works and what it is, like that can launch into a bunch of other stuff, right? Like visibility is important. But like, what do you like? What most people don't think about from a marketing standpoint is like, once I get the viral and I have the attention,
Yeah.
how do I maximize that?
Well, it's the same thing that we have talked about with just comedy, right? And all these comics. So, I mean, it's just especially because we're at Mic Drop, and so it comes up a lot. These comics have been doing this work for so many years, and then they have something that goes viral, it gets picked up, and then that's like the break or whatever, right? And so what ends up happening for someone who goes viral that actually has a bunch of content that they've already been recording and already have for like built up over the years. Now I have something to consume and I have something to become a fan of. But if I just have one viral video and that's the first thing and I don't really have anything else and like nothing else that's even related to what I just posted that did go viral or anything, then it's like if I'm not actively I guess being consistent post-viral video, then there's just nothing to grab onto. There's nothing sticky there.
Yes and no. I mean, part of it is, does the content need to match other things? If I go viral for posting a video of a couple getting married and all of my other stuff is something completely different, I think like that's part of what Gary Vee is like, no, that's the just post the things that are interesting.
Yeah,
right?
I guess that's what I'm saying though, is like there needs to be content.
There needs to be activity, but like we're talking about playing the social media game and the algorithm game. So if I want to go viral, if that's the goal, the content needs to be really good. It doesn't have to be high quality, but it has to be good, defined by entertaining, surprising.
Sure.
Right? Like it has to be engaging. It has, right? Like all of these things. That's what goes viral. It's hard to manufacture, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think we're talking about two different things though, because I mean, there's the going viral piece of it, and but then your comment was, and then what? Right? So I'm talking about the and then what? What else is there to follow or be a fan of?
The question in the context of what we were talking about with Ryan is, so you want to go viral, why?
Yeah, that was so that was a different question. Like that was like,
because
like
viral,
what's even the reason
getting my video to go viral doesn't necessarily directly equal dollars.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And that's the and then what part is. So how to and to have other things that people are interested in. Where do they land when they find me, and what's available.
Right.
And how is it set up as all part of it.
Yeah, it's like, what else do I have that's already been created when that moment comes, if I end up going viral, that like, what else is in my catalog? What else do I have? What else am I doing? Is there anything else that's there? Or is it like, no, this is my first video that I've ever posted ever in my life? Like,
well, sure. And that there's nothing wrong with that either, I guess.
No, there's nothing wrong with
I guess
that.
is like my point, I guess, is sure to have other content and have other things and other possibilities for people to become fans of, like you were talking about the comedian aspect of it. And if I was like, oh, I don't have all that, so part of it is it's just there's different ways to kind of go about doing this. How do you create, to me, the more organic, the more long-term way to do anything is like people think of viral as like a shortcut, and it's playing the lottery. You can buy a lottery ticket every day and you might get lucky and you might win, but that's still a waste of money.
Sure.
Because the chances are so small.
Yeah.
Right. You're, like that's all social. That's all going viral is a lottery ticket that I'm trying to, and so I have to play the game.
Yeah.
I have to invest all this time, all this energy, all these resources, potentially money, into building assets that disappear, versus what Ryan does and what Ryan talks about is building, like high quality, more storytelling, more things that are going to live, that are able to support the brand. Right. And so the long-term approach is building fandom, right? And building things that people are like, that you build, like if I build the brand, Taylor Swift, anything that at this point for you, anything that Taylor Swift puts out, it could be garbage. It could literally be, she's going to put out a punk 1970s punk album.
Wait, that would be sick.
Whatever, sure, but because you're a fan, and we all do this, because you're a fan, you will give it a shot.
Well, sure, I'm gonna at least listen to it and try.
Right. So, but like, how did you get there with her? Because that's not every artist.
It's not every artist ever. I don't know. I mean, you know how I am. When I find someone I like, I latch onto it. It's the same thing with like Jessie Reyes.
But think about the steps that get you to latch on to someone.
Sure.
Because what happens is like, ooh, I like this song. What else do they have? And I go down the thing, and I really like this, and this. And then I become a fan, and then I go to the concert, and now I'm experiencing live. And that, like, it's music's like, I'm using music as an analogy of this is the way that marketing, like building a brand, works.
Yeah.
Where even the viral part is like, if I fall on this page and find this funny thing and follow that, like, I'm sure you have this on Instagram. I don't do it as much, but I would, like, psychologically, most of us do. This was funny. What else does this person have?
Yeah.
I'm going to follow that so I get more of this thing.
Well, okay, but I guess that's what I'm saying is, so there's two pockets or two buckets that I'm thinking of. It's, I find something, I like it, and I like it enough that like I want to consume more of it. If I go to their page and they don't have anything else, maybe I go, well, this was a compelling enough story and it seems like they're on the path to create more of whatever this is. So I'm going to follow and see what happens with it. Or they already have a bunch of content, and then I go and I start watching a bunch of their other videos or whatever it might be, and then I get hooked and I can start following or whatever. So if they already have a bunch of content and it's already been created and there's a lot there for me to watch and go through, and like, awesome, I'm entertained for the next probably 2 hours. And then if they have something where it seems like, so this is an example, and I loved this so much. Granted, I didn't follow along with the entire journey, but I was really invested. It was someone who, well, this has happened actually multiple times with shows or movies or series that I already know and I love them. And someone basically records themselves watching it for the first time. Like, I've never seen Star Wars. So I'm going to start from the beginning and I'm going to record myself watching it. And now, as a huge I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. Let's see. I mean, this happened with Game of Thrones too. Someone recorded themselves watching Game of Thrones and all their reactions, and they just are a big, like, facial expression and crying and the whole thing. So all of us are just like watching that. We get to, like, as a viewer, get to relive it through them, kind of a situation.
This is me watching you watch football every Sunday. Like, that's the fun part for me. I don't care if the Chiefs win or lose. It's watching you be excited. Me
get excited about it. Yeah, so it's that, right? Where it's like, maybe that person who went viral with their very first video of watching this thing or starting this new thing. The same thing happened with people who were like, I'm going to listen to Taylor Swift for the very first time and just see if I like it. There's all kinds of content out there that's like that.
There's too much content.
There is too much content. It's a lot. And here we are creating more.
Yeah, it's too much. For anyone that listens to this, you are amazing.
Oh, yeah. I like, honestly, I'm like, do we still have listeners? I wonder at this point, just because I'm like, I don't pay attention to that part of it because we've talked about this so many times already, but sometimes I wonder, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I haven't gotten any text messages from, there was a couple of our friends who would consistently be like, hey, I just listened to this episode and you talked about this, or like, hey, like
we
this.
were on the top of some people's Spotify Wraps.
We were for a couple
That's
people.
fucking awesome.
That was so cool when they texted us that. Yeah.
Well, so we're talking about going viral and content and marketing, and it's just like there's ways to build a brand without playing the algorithm game and without being basically being a slave to the TikToks and Facebooks and Instagrams of the world.
Yeah.
I guess I just want to make sure that that's kind of my stance. Is that I'm very anti-social media in so many things, and we're starting to lean into it more and trying to do it in a very intentional way, a very efficient way.
Well, so like, who's it for? What's it for? How is this adding value? Right? Like, it's not just posting just to post something. It's how can we highlight the values of 6 Degrees? How can we highlight some of the thoughts and conversations that you and I are having in this room, right? So I've really enjoyed the work that Chiadani and I are doing together on just getting more of my thoughts kind of organized and posted on LinkedIn that have to do with like just business ideas and thoughts. There's a couple of things to kind of like brain dumps that I've worked on with her recently that I'm excited to release. I think I needed just like the support to be able to just, hey, Christina, you need to just talk about this real quick and like help me help you. So that's been great. And I actually like that side because it's creating conversation. There's people being like, oh, like this is a great idea. Like, thanks for sharing and things like that. Right. So to me, that's not just posting just to try and go viral or try and like be in front of people or whatever. It's like, no, hopefully this resonates with somebody. I
love what you just said specifically about having someone to bounce an idea off with and be able to share, put your voice into the world. I think there's kind of two ways to think about content. I just don't think that content equals sales, right? Or social media equals sales. To me, so much of even this podcast is we're learning and growing from the people that we're talking with.
Yeah.
And we're documenting it, right? And like we'll be able to look back 5 years, 10 years from now and be like, this moment, like this conversation, that'll be cool to have. I think there's growth with stretching. I think what the positive of posting and playing around with content is the stretching that happens with it and kind of pushing the limits of comfort zone. There's so much self-reflective learning that happens when there's consistency, when then there's something that's public and there's accountability, and when there's a requirement to kind of be like not perform but be on stage, be like have an audience, right? People there's expectations that come with that, and all of that equals growth, personal, professional growth.
Right. I literally just saw someone post about this today of part of the struggle that leaders have with scaling and growing is they themselves, like we as leaders, we have to grow ourselves and level up ourselves and our skills and our capabilities to be able to reach the next level of growth for our team, for our company, for whatever. And so, yeah, 100% to what you just said. It's like, if I don't keep working on me and learning and having these conversations, then I'm just going to plateau. Right.
And I guess my PSA to anyone that listens to this conversation is if you're interested, like if you want to, I wouldn't advise creating content to create content, to play the numbers game, to maybe go viral. But if you're looking for a really interesting mirror to actually like develop a skill and grow and learn, it's an amazing tool for that.
Yeah.
So many people look at it as a marketing, like profit driving engine. And that's way down the line. That's the long game, unless you're good at creating catchy content and you play the viral game.
Yeah.
So my invitation would be like, it's actually like the uncomfortable stuff that's going to just doing it and being consistent and holding yourself accountable, ourselves accountable.
Yeah.
We've experienced that with this podcast, right? And we've been doing it for 6 months. So
Yeah. I love it.
put her there, bub.
Put it here, bub. Put it here.